Hello, sweeties. I have 12 of this month's Hella Handmade creation polishes to share with you today. Quick notes before we get started. After I swatch them, you will see them under studio lighting, lower lighting, and one coat over black. Let's get to it. First up is by Danny Viana, Year of the Dragon, described as a sheer purple base with a strong blue aurora shimmer, shown here in 3 coats. You can see the blue aurora shimmer no matter the lighting, but under the lower lighting it becomes much more prominent and the delicate purple base becomes a bit darker as well. Year of the Dragon is $14 with a cap of $100. Next by Danny Viana is Spring Will Come Again, described as a sheer white curly base with pink aurora shimmer, white irregular glitters, and a light blue holographic reflective glitter. Shown here in 3 coats, it does dry with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. The pink aurora shimmer is a soft pink shift in the studio lighting, and when in the lower lighting it becomes a deeper pink and at some angles almost has a reddish copper tone to it, and once under a flash the reflective glitter also pops out. Year of the Dragon is $14 with a cap of $100. You can also get both by Danny Viana shades as a duo for $26 with a cap of $100. By Danny Viana is also releasing a Halloween shade through HHC this month with the 3 Little Witches set. It's along the same line as the 3 Little Sisters set from Christmas last year, except they adapted the tail to fit the Halloween season and have 3 little witches inside the cauldron instead. This is called Mixing Spells and is described as a neon green jelly base with a mix of neon glitters and a purple to gold UCC magnetic pull. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if you have a longer free edge. It does dry with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. The magnet used is the Arc magnet from Lantern and Wren. The magnetic pull has a pinky purple to yellow shift to it in the studio lighting, and when in the low lighting you see that, but it becomes more of a purple, peach, and gold shift as well. The set is $26 and has a cap of $50. Here we have Cuticula's Beauty, described as a white curly base with blue shifting glass flakes and blue and bronze metallic flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if your free edge is more opaque than mine. Dries with texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. This one mostly looks the same no matter the lighting, but the base does become a bit darker in the lower lighting. Beauty is $13 with no cap. Next we have Garden Path Lacquer's Villain Era. Described as a blood red jelly filled with red holographic micro glitter and matte red hex glitters in various sizes. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if you have more of an opaque free edge than me. This does dry with a good amount of texture, so I did have to use a glitter smoother as well as a top coat to smooth it all out. This is another that is mostly the same no matter the lighting, except I felt at some angles the red base morphed into a bit of a warm orange red, and you could see the depth of the glitters more as well. Villain Era is $13.50 with no cap. Next is Hearts and Promises Time of My Life. Described as a light pink hollow base with red to pink shimmer and red to purple chameleon flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if your free edge is more opaque than mine. Dries with a little bit of texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. The shimmer is a bit more subtle in the studio lighting, but it does come out to play in the lower lighting. Time of My Life is $13 with a cap of $300. Here we have Jen & Berry's Remember the Can't, described as a soft gray velvet linear holographic base with glowy blue to purple shifting shimmer. Shown here in 3 coats. The blue of the shimmer is what stands out the most in studio lighting, but the purple shows itself in the lower lighting. Remember the Can't is $13.50 with a cap of $4.50. Next is Lynn B Designs Captivating Campanelli, described as a mossy green base with green, aqua, blue, and violet multi-chrome shifts, shown here in 3 coats. The green is the strongest shift in the studio lighting, but the aqua, blue, and violet very much make themselves known in the lower lighting. Captivating Campanelli is $13 with a cap of $200. Here we have Night Owl Lacquers. They're dangerous, but I love their swagger. Described as a black and burgundy filled with pink, gold, green, and teal shifting multi-chrome flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if your free edge is more opaque than mine. It does dry with a bit of texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. The burgundy base becomes much deeper in the lower lighting, which seems to make the shifty flakes stand out more. They're dangerous, but I love their swagger is $12 with no cap. Next is Penelope Lou's Amaterasu, described as a white curly base with gold shimmer and flakes. Shown here in 3 coats, it does dry with subtle texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. This is one that mostly looks the same no matter the lighting, except the gold shimmer becomes a bit more noticeable in the low lighting. Amaterasu is $13 with a cap of $200. Another by Penelope Lou's is Sun Goddess, described as a clear base with blue flakes and gold hollow glitters. Shown here in 1 coat over Amaterasu. Dries with subtle texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. Again, another that looks mostly the same no matter the lighting, but those glitters do seem to pop a bit more in the lower lighting. Sun Goddess is $12 with a cap of $200. You can also get both Penelope Lou's shades as a duo for $24 with a cap of $200. And last we have Rogue Lacquer's Peter's Shadow, described as a dark gray scattered hollow with hollow flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, dries with a bit of texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. This gray base is a deceiving one. In my photos and videos, it seems to only show like the charcoal dark gray, almost black to it, especially in the lower lighting, but in some lighting, the gray base is a bit lighter, which other swatches have seemed to be able to capture more than I could, so be sure to check out the photos in their listing. Peter's Shadow is $12.50 with no cap. My top pick is by Danny Viana's Year of the Dragon. Lately, I've been leaning towards sheer polishes that can build up alone, be worn as a top or even just as 1 coat to give your naked nails a bit of a sheen. I just really enjoy a polish with a variety of uses. And second, I picked Limby Designs Captivating Campanelli. It's such a rich green base, and I very much enjoyed all the shifts in the different lighting. And my third is Rogue Lacquer's Peter's Shadow. I love myself some dark shades like this, plus the formula was super opaque and the scattered hollows really pop with that dark base. What are your favorites? Let me know in the comments. All polishes are available now through September 21st at hellahandmadecreations.com. Some of these do have caps, so be sure to grab yours now before they sell out. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching.